Ungrateful kill Harry. Meghan's plunder makes the poor prince evaporate all royal prerogatives. Hello and a very warm welcome back to Kate Middleton and the Queen News YouTube channel. According to what Harry wrote in his memoir, he really despises his position as spare. But there are many poor people out there. There are so many homeless people out there. And for these people, as well as many others, being a royal spare would be an absolute dream come true. They would love to be in Harry's shoes. But Prince Harry is so unappreciative. Harry really did have it all. He had a loving family, he had a nice job, he lived in a dream world. Now, he made an issue of being called spare thanks to Meghan Markle. His mother actually taught him a whole lot about how lucky he was to live this life of privilege. Harry played by his mother's rules, and so when she passed away, it really threw him off. And ever since then, he's basically done nothing but whine and complain and rage and threaten his own father's family. Harry's trying to hurt his family, but he's not succeeding. He's only damaging himself and his reputation by writing that book and by basically living a lie. Harry is throwing so much hateful venom towards his family, his father, for raising him in this wealthy, privileged way. I do think that Harry hates himself, so I don't think he's able to really share his wealth with anybody. He goes on and on about how generous he is, about how kind he is, and about how he wants to serve others, but all of this is empty. He lives a life of deceit. Whatever Harry does is really a cry for help thanks to the pain that he feels inside. So I don't think any gifts are going to come from despair because the truth is he doesn't have anything to give. He doesn't even have himself to give. He is empty inside. Harry's also, I hate to say it like this, but he's a bit of a jerk. He's entitled, he's privileged, he's selfish. If only Harry could consider other people or causes, then he could do a lot better. And that's why the commoners are so upset with him and his constant whining. He needs to do some real charity work. I do not understand why they can't just be content as members of the royal family. Meghan and Harry had such an amazing opportunity to spread goodwill wherever they wanted to go. I cannot imagine anything more important. Why would they throw something like that away? Now this current memoir and any books that come after, the interviews, all the media stuff, including the stuff they did for Netflix and the podcast, all of that is supposed to harm and destroy Harry's own family. But the only thing Harry has really destroyed is himself. Now, the royal family will come out of this just fine. Maybe some things will change, but they'll endure. Harry, however, will not. In the long run, he's going to be ruined by his own behavior, and he's still not going to realize it. I'm sure he will continue to blame everybody else and never himself. Harry also likes to pretend like he's more in touch with the people than his family is, but he's not at all. He's just like all the other upper-class members of society who have never experienced the problems of the middle class and the impoverished. They don't know what it's like to be a working-class person who's just living from check to check. Harry also does not have a healthy and balanced view of his late mother. He really has bought into this myth of her as a saint. He can't reconcile her ordinary human weaknesses with her public persona. And the constant worship of his larger-than-life mother is a downfall for him. It made him such an easy target for Meghan Markle. So basically, the story of Spare is a story about a lost little boy who never accepted the circumstances of his birth and the loss of an ordinary and often extraordinarily loving mother. It really is time for Harry to be an adult. What happened to Diana is definitely tragic, but still, life has to go on. And maybe I would feel a little more sympathy for him if he were not such a whiny, spoiled brat who's married to this awful gold digger. In some ways, they are pretty well suited to one another, but I don't know how much longer they're going to be able to keep this up. Their love story is completely fake, because apparently behind closed doors, they just argue all the time, and in fact, they cannot stand each other. Harry and Meghan really believed they had come up with such a genius plan. They were going to abandon the constraints of the royal family, and they were going to make millions all by themselves by selling out their royal connections. And then, of course, the Queen put a stop to that plan. So then, all of a sudden, oh no! Meghan and Harry were facing an impossible situation. They were worried maybe they would actually have to earn the money that they required to keep up the lifestyle they were used to living. How in the world could they do that? Well, Meghan has always used white men to get what she wants. Well, of course, that was not going to work for Harry, and at the end of the day, Harry does not have any income-earning skills of his own. The only thing they really have to sell is their tragic story about Harry being this neglected spare who lost his mother at a tender age. Well, I do hope they have some good investment skills because the money from the book and the Netflix docuseries is not going to last forever. They spend money like there's no tomorrow. And people also really didn't buy Harry's whining because most people agree that being the spare is a great position. It's better than being the heir. All the benefits of being a high ranking royal, but free of the responsibilities of being the heir. I mean, you gotta make some appearances for charities and you have to do some goodwill tours, but the spare has the freedom of getting to live an easy life and they can pursue other endeavors if they want to. William knows all about his future. Whether it's what he would choose for himself or not, it doesn't really matter. He does not have the freedom that Harry enjoys. But anyway, I think William is perfect for the job. When the time comes, I am sure he's going to make an amazing king. Harry's self-pity, though, is just bizarre. He understands that he does not have the makings of a future king and that he wouldn't even want to be future king. But still, he's incredibly jealous of his older brother. He's just so immature, and I swear that guy is more mixed up than a fruit salad. A royal expert weighed in, saying Harry lived a very privileged life. He never had to work for anything, and his failures were covered up, so he never learned how to cope with failure and turn it around. Everyone in his life overcompensates for him because his mother died. They didn't help him let go and move on. Example, his mother was killed in a car accident driven by a drunk driver. Instead of taking his grief and turning it into something positive, like starting an awareness program on the dangers of driving drunk, dangers of speeding, and even awareness on the importance of wearing seatbelts, instead, he turned his grief into bitterness and self-pity. He seemed to be moving towards altruistic endeavors with the Invictus Games and the mental health program with William and Catherine, but that involvement died when he met Meghan Markle. Not sure of the timeline, but she managed to give permission for all that bitterness to flow freely. That lack of compassion as a teen and young adult resurfaced and was fed by Meghan Markle. I don't think Harry is ungrateful because he's never been introduced to the feeling of gratitude. He lacks genuine compassion because he has little to no consciousness development or empathy. I agree. Even in TV interviews, you can see how arrogant he is. Whenever somebody asks a question that he doesn't like, he has such a rude look on his face. At one point, he even raised his chin in an act of defiance. People who are arrogant, entitled, and who have no self-awareness don't have any conscious or even unconscious insights into feelings of gratefulness. It simply is not there. The royal expert also said, I blame the late Princess Diana for his behavior. She never punished him when he was being naughty and mean, but instead put the idea of spare in his mind and let him get away with all sorts of things. He forgets that when Diana was running around the world with various men, it was the royals who were looking after him. He wants to be the king, but is so unhinged that instead of making something positive with his life, he has thrown away expensive education that some can only dream of, and has turned his life into a meaningless lie. No formal qualifications at all to lead the independent life that he claims to want. There are many of his cousins, etc., who have successful careers, etc., and also have an independent life. Why on earth has he had a second child when he suffers with the position of sparing us a mystery? What on earth will his surrogate children think of him in years to come is a mystery. This expert concludes by saying, ungrateful fool of a man. And you, what do you think about Harry? Please let me know your opinion below in the comment section, and we can also discuss him in the monarchy. If you preferred our video this evening, please remember to like and share it with anyone else who would enjoy it. And please click the subscribe button below to get more videos from our team. Again, thank you so much for tuning in, goodbye, and we'll be back to see you tomorrow.